From the Buick Studios, this is News Radio 830 WCCO.
When he took her home to meet his mama and papa, Louie knew just where he stood.
This is The Night Show. My name's Mischke. I'll be with you till midnight, barring a terrible tragedy. Grandmaster Flash is at the board, technical director, studio engineer. He answers the phone when you dial 651-989-WCCO, 651-989-9226. He funnels you on through to me via a Viet Cong tunneling system. Hello, Tom.
Hi there, Tommy. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
That's good. Hey, it was interesting you're talking about writing books. Actually, I'm not in the process of finishing one. I'm actually an author, as you were saying earlier.
How does it feel to say that, Tom? Say it again. Say I'm an author.
I am an author.
Ich bin ein. That's glorious.
It is, especially when you've written a memoir that's over 725 pages. It took me 3 years to do it.
Wonder if it's any good.
Well, I've been told that it is.
By who, your mother?
Yeah, actually, she was the first one to read it.
Uh-huh. What do you think she's going to say?
Well, she said, you did a fine job, son.
Yeah.
She's proud of me.
Have you had anybody read it who might be into literary criticism?
Maybe a few. It's now on Kindle, and I know that it's
Kindle?
out there, and some people are reading it probably right now as we speak.
You know, I've run into a lot of books that should be kindling. This particular book, what's it called?
It's called Pieces of My Past.
Pieces of My Past. Now, everybody...
Of my past. P-A-T-H.
Oh, Pieces of My Path.
That's correct.
A lot of folks who've lived any kind of life at all think their life is interesting. One of the fascinating things about human life is we all, during our lifetime, believe we're the center of the universe to one degree or another. I mean, even though logically we know we're not, we are the center of the universe. Our universe, everything revolves around us. We're constantly centered within ourselves. And so our lives to us are fascinating. And I'm sure it's tempting sometimes to think they're going to be fascinating to other people. What makes your path so cool that I'd rather read about your path than someone else's path?
Well, back in the early 90s, I suffered a very severe depression. And
Join the club.
Yeah, and it took me 3 years to get through that process. Fortunately, I'm depression-free these days.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing happen to me, but when I got done, I realized my situation wasn't unique, as I learned that billions of people have had the same thing happen to them!
That's true.
Let's go back to the uniqueness of your situation. What, well, sell me on the book, for God's sakes. I mean, I'm not going to read a 700-page book of your life unless your life is really fascinating.
Well, that part of my life was pretty fascinating in that I was 5 months in a mental hospital and couldn't get out of there. I was treated very horribly by the psychiatrist and the staff, who actually bound and pretty much gagged me while I was there. And
now, was this just for fun or part of a hazing, or?
No, it wasn't a hazing. No, it was pretty serious.
Because sometimes I've been told when you first get to a mental hospital, there is about a 24, 48-hour period where you're hazed pretty good. Now, I went into a regular hospital, not a mental hospital, so I didn't get any of that. And that's why I didn't want to follow through with the mental hospital. I said, I can do the fetal position in my basement, thank you.
Did they take your shoelaces away from you?
No, they encouraged me to buy more, actually, and to string them together. And then they showed me this clamp in the wall that went right into a beam and said, just saying, Tommy, it's there. It's there if you need it.
Oh, boy. Well.
Yeah. And at the time, the Allman Brothers were singing, there's only one way out. And they were saying, actually, in your case, Tommy, we have two. We have the front door and then that beam right there. And I said to him, I remember saying to him, what happens after you die? Do we know for certain? And they gave me a book by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, which was really encouraging. Talked about the white light and the relatives and the sense of serenity. I mean, it was tempting. The only thing that stopped me was I couldn't do a good, I couldn't make a decent knot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Were you good at knots? I eventually was given a book called The Book of Knots, and it's a sailing book, and I learned some really good ones. So next time I'll be ready. How about you?
Well, without getting into too much detail, I was pretty good at tying a knot.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, I wasn't, but you'll have to read the book to find out.
Really? Now it's getting interesting. Did you screw up a suicide attempt?
Oh, a couple of them.
Ha ha! What a hack! How'd you do that? Once you screwed up one time, couldn't you just correct the mistake and get it right the second time?
Actually, I didn't. No, I didn't.
What an idiot.
I know. It's pretty bad.
So what did you end up doing with your life? Obviously becoming an author.
Well, actually, I after I get out of the mental hospital, I went and spent about a year and a half, 2 years in a group home with a bunch of schizophrenics. And after I left there...
This sounds like a fun book. Then what?
And then I got back together, and then I went back to work, working in security, and moved to Minnesota in 1996.
Security? Someone put you in charge of their stuff?
That's correct.
No one's ever that cured. I mean, even here they have cameras watching me at all times. What do you do today? What do you do these days?
I work security.
So do you have a gun?
No.
No.
They
Shoelaces?
don't give me a gun.
Great. So the book, The Ark, what does it have a moment of catharsis?
For me, it does. Near the point of getting my life back together, in 1993 felt like I was born again. Nothing religious-like, just that I felt that my life had come together. And
how did it do that? How did your life come together?
Well, an 82-year-old psychiatrist actually sat me down for about I'd say about almost 2 years of therapy and cut into my head with a chainsaw. And after she was done with me, no more problems.
That stuff actually works? What kind of therapy? Is just what sort of?
It was group therapy.
Really? So you're in this therapy with a bunch of other folks, an 82-year-old psychiatrist, and your whole world is turned around.
That's correct.
I didn't even think psychiatrists did that anymore. I thought they either gave you medication or funneled you off to some psychologist.
She took my medication away from me. I wanted Xanax, and she wouldn't let me have it. So I had to suffer through her, her shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. Was there an actual point where you said, you know what, I don't need this anymore, I'm cured?
Yes, there was. And that was in around March of 1993.
Boy, you went from the bug house, years in the bug house, to being 100% healthy without drugs, with some magic group therapy. I'd like to know what happened there.
Well, it was a lot of fun. Like I say, I spent a lot of time with people with much worse mental illness than I had. I had a situational depression because I had a problem with my boss.
Wait a minute. You're telling me you did how many years in the bug house?
Oh, I was in the mental hospital for 5 months, but then I went into a group home. So altogether it was about 3 years.
Okay.
From 1989
all right.
to 93.
3 years for situational depression. In other words, the same kind of depression that can hit anybody who has something bad go wrong in their life. No clinical depression at all. No genetic predisposition. You just had something go wrong with your boss, and next thing you know, you're being tied up in a funny farm?
Pretty much, but I had a lot of underlying issues growing up, and I didn't realize that until I was deep into my therapy.
This book's selling?
A little bit.
I mean, I'm not talking your mom now. Sometimes moms go around to all the little bookstores in town, buy them all up. Have you looked in the garage? I bet a bunch are in there. Check the rafters.
Well, the size of the book is pretty hefty, and if you don't buy the Kindle form and you buy the actual book itself, it makes for a good doorstop.
Well, how much is the book, the hardcover book?
Well, it's actually soft cover, and you can order it through me. I have a website. It's $22 if you order it through me, and it's $3.99 on Kindle.
And is it soft cover because in order to be sold in mental hospitals, they don't allow it to have a hardcover in case people will use it to, so soft cover generally?
Yes, but if you buy the electronic version, it doesn't have paper, so you couldn't get a paper cut.
Right, but it has a little slot to insert your finger in case you want shock treatment. Fascinating book. Where can people find it?
At www.tomrydell.com.
Rydell as in the equipment company?
That's correct.
Okay. www.tomrydell.com. How old are you, Tom?
I am 54 years old.
And every day's a gift, and the sun shines a little brighter, and those breezes that blow and send the leaves and the tree branches hither and yon delight you no end.
And to have you back on the air makes me even a lot more happier.
Just think if you'd have had that option back when that 82-year-old was working on your skull. You could have said,
Tommy, if I had you back then, I wouldn't have needed an 82-year-old psychiatrist.
Well, I'm happy you're back with the living. Good talking to you, Tom.
Thank you,
right.
buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
News Radio 830 WCCO. Stick around.